Hello again, my dear friends. Larson here, and welcome back to Kung Fail. A concept I convey a lot in my Kung Fail videos is that of crank magnetism, which is to say that martial arts frauds, or frauds and lunatics in general, tend to hang out with each other, feed each other's delusions, and overall spend a lot of time giving each other sumptuous metaphorical blowjobs, or perhaps literal blowjobs, I don't know. The greatest example of this is, of course, the Black Dragon Fighting Society, started by Count Dante and soon encompassing a motley crew of losers and deluded lunatics who spend their days playing ninja in their mom's garages. Guys like Frank Dukes, Ashita Kim, and Bryce Dallas have all been associated with this motley dork squad. Just to name a few guys that I myself have profiled. You also may recall how Stephen Hatfield and Richard Hackworth overlapped, just to cite another example. But the web goes far, far deeper than that. Do a bit of research into any martial arts fraud, and you'll find connections to at least one more, if not several more. My research into Brett Gordon and Stephen Hatfield led me to another martial arts hack, Jack Papasan Stern. Stern is also tied to other hacks besides Brett and Steve. Take a look at Kenny Vasquez here on his bomb-ass Angel Fire webpage. I'm honestly surprised the other pages on this website aren't just gigabytes and gigabytes of Dragon Ball Z fan art, but perhaps we'll come back to this another time. With regards to Jack Stern, as usual, we will go over his claims versus the reality and any other relevant information. So, Papa San Stern's story, according to Jack Stern himself. Jack Stern was a Congressional Medal of Honor winner and prisoner of war in the Korean War. He bravely escaped after hiding himself among corpses during a forced march, where he received a large wound to his abdomen from a North Korean bayonet. He did not even emit a sound to avoid detection. He did not feel he had done enough to serve his country, and he stayed in the armed forces and served with Air America and the CIA. Through all the years he spent in the armed forces in the Far East, he spent every minute of his free time studying martial arts with the great masters. That is why his judo and jujitsu were better than the people that studied in this country. He had studied at the birthplace of these martial arts. After he retired from the military, he went back to New York City and became a police detective. He retired as a decorated detective from an elite unit. He had been in judo over 50 years. His son had won an Olympic gold medal in judo. He headed a jujitsu system that he had inherited in the respected Korean Judo Association. Even Time magazine honored him by putting him on their front cover. Because of his war record, most martial arts magazines had featured him and several halls of fame had inducted him. Stern also found time to found the WOMA organization, the World Organization of Mixed Martial Arts, imparting his godlike wisdom to his proteges like Richard Rogers and Stephen Hatfield. The problem is this story's bullshit. First of all, I'm not sure if serving with Air America is at all something to be proud of, but secondly, it's all bullshit. Jack Stern never served overseas at all, certainly never winning the Medal of Honor. Yeah, also, a word of advice to any martial arts frauds. You can't all have won the Medal of Honor. Can't one of you idiots pretend to have won the Silver Star or the Distinguished Service Cross? Maybe the Croix de Guerre or the Blue Max for the sake of variety? I mean, winning a foreign medal or the second best medal is still pretty good, and it's more than enough credentialism for your frauds. I mean, hell, if you claim to be a winner of a defunct medal like the Order of the Blue Sky and the White Sun, I would applaud you just for the sake of historiography. Anyway, Jack Stern was not a war hero. I can't even validate that he was in the military at all, nor did he serve in the NYPD. His claims to have studied martial arts all around the world cannot be substantiated. In fact, there's little proof he has any martial arts background at all. His Time magazine cover story is a gag gift that was made at an amusement park. And at that, I'm surprised he didn't go whole hog and write up a headline that also proclaimed him to be the world's greatest sex machine. And like several other frauds we can name, Stern made up a bunch of nonsensical organizations to promote himself. The Korean Judo Hapkido Association was literally none of those things, but I guess the Florida LARP Association doesn't sound quite as cool. So who knows where the Papasan nickname came from? Considering the vaguely sexually domineering connotations that name has, I presume he watched a lot of Asian porn and then came up with the name for himself in a masturbatory fever dream. So what was Jack Stern's actual background? He drove a bread truck for many decades. That's it. Instead of delivering hip tosses and kimura locks, he delivered Kaiser rolls and baguettes to the people of South Florida. I'm honestly stunned at the idea that nobody noticed that the wizened hobbit delivering hamburger buns to the local diner was the same guy that claimed to be a 50-year student and master of judo who was like so totally badass that he got bayoneted in the stomach and didn't make a sound in pain. And frankly, the idea of a Medal of Honor winning war hero reduced to driving a bread truck is a grave indictment of the treatment of America's veterans. Hey Rambo, this croissants are stale. Hey man, you asked me, I didn't ask you. I did what I had to do to deliver the bread, but the politicians wouldn't let us deliver the bread. Anyway, despite his utter lack of skill in martial arts, he did apparently teach martial arts at some strip mall school, and he was apparently influential enough for Stephen Hatfield and Brett Gordon to exploit the name of a stroke-afflicted old man in their own chicanery, but that's a whole different story. But more to the point, Jack Stern also influenced at least one whack-ass student, a William Wong, a Dr. William Wong, who I cannot verify is a doctor at all. There is a Dr. William Wong, but he's a dentist in Brooklyn and is definitely not the same guy. I also can't verify that this particular Dr. William Wong is Chinese either. Is it just me or does he look vaguely Mexican? Anyway, Dr. William Wong is probably not a doctor either. Certainly not a world-famous one as his website implies. His YouTube channel has less hits and less subscribers than mine, and that's pretty impressive when you've allegedly been on TV with both Jane Seymour and William Shatner. Dr. Wong joined Sensei Jack Stern at some kind of World Martial Arts Hall of Fame breakfast in 2006, where they discussed combat mindfulness and the killer instinct, which this short, pudgy man knows all about because he's from the streets in New York City. In the mid-1970s, I happened to take up a job as a weekend bouncer at a big, sleazily bar in Brooklyn's Sheepshead Bay. I was fresh out of the service, 158 pounds soaking wet, so I did not look like a typical bouncer. We also had a good number of full barroom brawls, all of which were put down in less than 2.5 minutes. I got lots of practical experience with people trying to seriously hurt me in hand-to-hand fighting. What I had discovered was that after every fight and brawl, I had a letdown feeling of disappointment because none of the encounters were as hard or as tough as doing Chi Sao with my Wing Chun brothers. Train hard, fight easy. Yes, your Wing Chun training was much harder than actual unsanctioned street fights, Bill. I totally believe this. It's not at all like Sanshou Kung Fu is the only Kung Fu style that has ever shown itself to be useful in a real fight. Clearly, the World Martial Arts Hall of Fame breakfast is on the same level as Jack Murphy's circle jerk closet case. The jacked brunches. Let's take a look at William Wong's other writings. Vampires? Breast expansion? What? Oh, I see. These are energy vampires, not the blood-sucking vampires. That's much more sensible. Also, William Wong claims to have been clinically dead twice and just magically survived both times. The first time, he was hit by a car, and the second time, a bout of pneumonia. Clearly, Papasan taught him how to fake death and or bullshit well on his trips to the bread factory. And, that's about it. Jack Stern is a total hack. I can't verify that he studied any kind of martial arts, nor can I verify he did anything beyond deliver bagels for a living. Make no mistake about it, I don't want to demean the humble boulanger. Delivering bread is a noble profession. Certainly much more honorable than being a stolen valor loser. But Stern's story is another example of frauds building frauds building frauds, promoting each other and leading to a cycle of LARPing idiocy. It's frauds all the way down. So remember, kids, don't steal valor. Put down those fake medals of honor and make some baguettes or something. I'm Larson Halleck, and apprenez plutôt à cuisiner.
And now, a word from our sponsors. Hello, are you a fan of Larson Halleck and the Barbaric Gentleman? Of course you are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching. Would you like to help the channel grow? Here's how you can. You can go to patreon.com and pledge some money, joining the ranks of the illustrious heroes you'll find at the end of the video. You can also go to paypal.me/LarsonHalleck to give me some money, or you can follow me on social media, at Larson Halleck on Twitter and Instagram. I don't use right-wing grifter sites like Gab and Parler because they suck. You can also buy my books. The links to do so are in the video description. And of course, please subscribe and spread the word. That name again is Larson Halleck, and I hope you enjoyed the video.